Yeah.
Ordered filled, check us out.
You know what time it is.
This is Mighty Soldiers exclusive.
Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Today we have a special guest. Moritz is with us from Edgewonk and TradeStation.
Hi.
And just to get started, I would like to say that, Moritz, my main passion here is that a lot of traders go into this and they want to go big. You know, they want to get rich. They want to treat trading like a lottery ticket. You know, they want to go with big position sizing and
Sure.
just pretty much. I think that you have an answer for that, at least part of the answer. And you and Rolf have done a lot of work in that area. So if you'd like to go from there.
Cool. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the introduction.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, well, lottery ticket. There was this really cool study from Taiwan, I think, where as soon as the state lottery launched, the Forex volume dropped by 50% in that country. So you can see how many people are treating it as basically as gambling, trading. And you simply have to decide that for yourself. Do you want to treat it as a hobby, like going to the casino and having some fun at the blackjack table? Or do you want to treat it as a business? And those are two totally different things. And if you want to treat it as a business trading, then no matter which trading style or asset class or what time of the year, what time in history, you will have to make a really serious effort and put in the time and have realistic expectations and so on. We've worked with tons of traders and we always see that as soon as they start believing us when it comes to realistic expectations, their results increase a lot. So,
and you trade equities and Forex, if I'm understanding correct?
Yeah, I trade mostly Forex and some indices as CFDs mostly. And I also trade stocks, yes, US stocks, some Hong Kong stocks. So.
And if you don't mind me going here before we get into the Edgewonk, you, from what I'm understanding, you started more where I'm at right now. I'm more of a breakout intraday. You know, I like to trade the predictable areas of consolidation, say in a bull flag or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not really going for the moon on my trades. If we have a nice bull flag, I'm not actually trying to trade the breakout. I'm trying to trade from the bottom of the consolidation just to the resistance and call it a day, you know.
I see.
Or the trend line, like SRNE right now. If you haven't, if you know about that one, that might be going to the moon today. But
cool.
Yeah, just it's not a really nice pullback right now, and that's what I look for. Something that looks more higher probability trades, you know.
Yeah. I've most of my career I have been a pullback trader, and later on I also added breakouts. But Rolf is the breakout expert for us, and I have mostly been a trend follower, early trend follower. I don't like to get into trends later on after the third or fourth pullback. I like to wait for the first wave basically, and then get in with the first pullback. This has been my bread and butter setup for years, and it works in pretty much every market with some adjustments. So yeah, that's my style.
And journaling, how I take it you've always been into some sort of journaling, and you know, why journal? Why is journaling so important to you and Rolf as far as trading goes?
Yeah, well, I interview with Steenbarger and Bellafiore from SMB Capital.
Yeah.
And Bellafiore pretty much, he said it in one sentence: if you're not journaling, I can't take you serious as a trader. That's it, right? There's not much else to say about that. There's simply no learning by doing in trading, right? Deliberate practice is what makes you better in any craft, and journaling is the deliberate practice, right? Trading is just the execution. That takes 2 or 3 seconds. That's the smallest part of your job. In the end of the day, the real work starts when you do your analysis in your journal. This is really where you do your deliberate practice, where you improve actively, and where you can find out why you're losing money, not only that you're losing money.
Yeah, I would also say meditation as well. I mean, for me, you know, I've heard one of your I don't know if it's podcasts where they were asking you, did you ever feel like you're going to quit? And I wouldn't mind if you wanted to go, you know, take that question as well. But for me, there was a point where I wanted to quit, but I did feel like crushed. I felt defeated. I felt like trading just was not possible. I had just given the market like probably over $30,000. And, I started off very responsible. I was trading, I was trading GM or Facebook, whatever was actually moving that was reasonable. And then all of a sudden I started following penny stock gurus. And the funny thing is I love penny stocks now. I don't mind them because I know how to trade them, but I was trading responsibly. I had increased my account by about 14%, or so. And then when I started following the gurus, thinking that I can do what they're doing. If they're doing it, if they're getting these numbers, then I can do this too. And as you can see, that's not a good thing for anybody. And that's what I'm trying to help people to avoid.
Yeah, that can quickly crush you. It's really easy to burn out in the markets, and especially if you wipe out 3 months of profit in a day. I think it happened to everyone before. Certainly did to me a couple of times as well. And yeah, I also never felt like I want to quit. I just felt like I need a break of 3 days. I need to recollect and figure out what the hell just happened, and then come back to the markets. But I never felt like quitting, because I think it's totally normal in a game of probabilities to get crushed once in a while. It will happen again and again and again. It will happen for the next 50 years of my trading career. That's totally the nature of the game, right? So if you want to choose trading as a career, you have to accept that fact that you will feel worthless sometimes, and you will feel like nothing is going for you at all. There will be these 3-6 month periods where you are breaking even or losing money, and that's just part of the game. You have to accept that, and good times will come around always.
Some of the times I'm looking at my journal and I'm like, I don't even know what to put in here. Do I put in that I just got super angry and I held it on purpose because I didn't want to close it? And then, because I'm angry over my trade, I start getting in an argument here at my house or something weird, like this. Sometimes it's just, I don't know if that would help to go back and reread that in my journal, but that's about, that explains it, Like I made a mistake. I held it too long. Then I got angry. Then I started taking it out on somebody else in some way or another. I think it may have happened to all of us at one point. Luckily, I'm far past that now.
Yeah, definitely. I mostly take it out on the gym when I'm really angry. So that's usually a better choice than your spouse.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm making myself sound totally bad right now, but I'd rather be honest about, because it did happen once. I actually, the trade went against me, and we had already had sort of a little bit of this. We were fighting slightly. We don't really, not bad, but the whole thing combined, and then I'm just like, I'm not going to close it. She's like, you should close it. Just close it. It's better just to close it. I'm like, I'm not going to close it. So, I took like a $300 loss to a $600 loss to a $750 loss. I think I closed it at like $1,600 loss when I could have easily just closed this thing at about $150.
Yeah. Yeah. That happens. So listen to your wife.
yeah. That's been the truth the whole time. She's always been the one that says, close these trades out,
Smart.
So, if you'd like to share your screen and bring up Edgewonk.
Yeah, I guess you can see my screen now, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool, perfect. So, this is Edgewonk basically, and just a few words about how it started. It was me and Rolf, we met via an online forum many years ago, and we started talking, trading and traveling and so on, because he was doing the same as me that time, trading and traveling through Asia. And I wanted to know sorry, how his trading journal worked, and he wanted to know how my trading journal worked. We both had huge Excel sheets, and then we said, so he's tracking something completely different than me, and those are great ideas. I want to be tracking too. So we combined our two journals into one, basically. And then we thought, and then we put like 100 hours of work into this, or it was at that point 200 or 300 hours actually, with all the fancy Excel, visual basic stuff and so on. So we thought, let's see if other people are interested in that. And we started selling an Excel sheet. And we thought it's probably a stupid idea, but people loved it. And we did so well that we could actually hire programmers and go for the second version of Edgewonk, which you are seeing right now. And we are right now developing the third version, which is going to be cloud-based and in the browser. So you don't have to install any app on your computer anymore.
Yeah, I remember you had told me something about that in the email before, that you got a lot of good things to come.
Yeah, really excited about that. And it will have the whole functionality of Edgewonk 2 and plus a lot of other stuff on top. So it's going to be really epic. And it's going to make Edgewonk even better than it already is. So
if you don't mind, one of the things that I really love about Edgewonk, and you could tell me if this is going to change, but right now you have a one-time payment. And you know, that makes it really easy for new traders to just get that out of the way and have a really nice trading journal, you know?
Yep.
And not only that, you guys offer some education along with that for a very small price, which, you know, you're beating all the gurus there, because, you know, these guys want to charge what, $1,500, $15,000 sometimes. I mean, I don't even know. It gets really ridiculous.
Some ridiculous stuff out there for sure. Well, for the pricing model, we are not sure yet about Edgewonk. It's definitely gonna be software as a service. So we have to see how we are going to finance that, but it will not be more pricey than Edgewonk 2. So it's definitely always going to stay affordable for every trader out there, because that's what essentially we want to achieve, that every trader has a top-notch trading journal without having to put in 300 hours by themselves into an Excel sheet.
Right.
So yeah, we are not sure yet about the pricing model, but it will definitely be very, very affordable for everyone. Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, you will be amazed. I'm using it every day already. We are in closed beta right now. It's great stuff.
If you don't mind, would you want to go into any of those nuances of what part you were thinking as far as what it needed and what part Rolf was saying that he needed?
Yeah, so for me, I was mostly really into the details of and the intricacies of a trading strategy. For example, I wanted to know how my entries perform at 10 a.m., how they perform at 11 a.m., and so on. I really wanted to know, for example, how much time I spend underwater, because stuff like that helps me as a trader prepare for the future. If I know that 80% of the time I'm spending underwater, then if I have another losing streak, then so what? It's just part of the game, right? And stuff like that. So I really wanted to know the exact numbers that make up my trading strategy, so that I could, in the future, when I have a rough patch, I could go back over my journal and, okay, this happened again, this happened before, and this happened before. Nothing is out of the ordinary. So everything is cool. Just stick to the process. That was what really got me into journaling in the first place. And for Rolf, he was more into the not the huge quantification, but the more qualifying factors of trading. So for example, how do you perform if you had 8 hours sleep yesterday, for example? How do you feel before you trade? Did you meditate? Stuff like that. So we had to find a way to basically get both of those worlds into one journal, where one, you see the cold, raw numbers, black on white on a sheet, but on the other hand, you see also yourself as a human and how you perform under different circumstances, because we are all humans, and trading is a performance craft. So the better you perform, the more money you will make. And that's simply a whole world that happens outside of the charts that can really impact your performance. So I think that should go into a journal as well. But I didn't track that before. I didn't even have a process as a beginning trader. I just went to the charts, opened the charts, and started trading. So I had no priming technique whatsoever. And as soon as I started journaling that, so okay, this morning I had a run, I had a good breakfast, I slept 7 hours, I meditated, and on those days, weirdly, I'm making much more money than on the other days. So something must be going on here, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, you know, I noticed that I get most of my losses if I'm sick, if I'm not feeling well. Yeah. And then when I do get my losses, that's for me the meditation. The meditation is not to beat myself up about the loss, but just to go over it and what could I do better next time? You know, how can I fix it? I strongly believe don't ever recover your losses in trading. And this could take me over to where you were a professional poker player as well.
Yes, correct.
And so being a professional poker player, do you think that trading is would you say trading is gambling? Trading can be gambling? How would you address that one?
Well, to be honest, trading can be whatever you want it to be. And everyone gets out of the markets what they want and deserve. So the same as like some people, they go into the casino to play poker, have a good time, have some cocktails, and maybe get to know some interesting people. There are always interesting people in the casino. But there are also professionals that sit there 12 hours a day. They are grinding it out. They are following the rules. They have a system. They are essentially not gambling, right? And the same is true for trading.
Right.
You can sit the whole day in front of your screen and just gamble your money away, or you treat it as a profession. So I don't know who said it, but it was definitely a quote by a market wizard. Like, everyone gets out of the market what they want. Was it Psychoda, maybe?
I just now listened to that, but I cannot remember exactly which one it was.
Yeah.
But I do remember I was playing roulette one time on a single zero table, and I had set up a strategy to where I was there the entire night. I mean, a very long time. And after quite a while, I wasn't winning, a lot of money, but like you said, it was a system. And after a while, there was one more guy in a black suit, and then another guy in a black suit. And then next thing I know, there's a wall of about 7 or 8 guys in black suits. They're just staring at me, and there's nobody else in the casino. And then finally, one of them comes over and says, "Sir, we're going to be closing this table. We're going to have to ask you to leave." I'm like, "Okay, no problem. What other table can I play on?" I'm thinking that we're just closing this section. It's like, no, sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave. Like, I'd like to continue to play. He's like, "No, sir, I'm sorry. You're going to have to leave." I'm like, okay. So that's one thing about the stock market that I like. You don't have anybody asking you to leave.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, a good strategy, exactly. I believe that trading's not gambling if you're doing it right. If you want to be a gambler, there's obviously room to be a gambler in this world, and most people do, and that's why over 90%, as they say, fail.
Yeah, but I can tell you, if you want to gamble, you're gonna have a much better time at the races. Horse racing is a lot of fun. Sitting in front of your screen and clicking buttons is not that much fun, to be honest. So if you want to gamble, just go to the racetrack. I had some really good times on the racetrack.
Yeah, I always say it like this, something like that, go on vacation, do something else other than sit here and put your money, because all this is you're getting your hopes up that you're going to win something, and it's not going to happen, and it's going to teach you a hard lesson.
Yes.
And I've seen a lot of great people that, have come in here. I've talked to them day after day, sort of become friends, and they fall from their trading. They can't stop themselves from whatever it is that they're doing. And next thing you know, they're gone. Like, they don't, they kind of don't want to even, I don't think people want to really admit what they've done, Yeah,
it's hard to admit sometimes that you messed up big time. Well, it's really hard, but it's the only way forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, should I quickly go over Edgewonk?
Yeah, I have ADD. Don't mind me. Yeah, if we're opening this for the first time, what would you suggest? How should we? Yeah, how can we make the best out of Edgewonk for ourselves?
Yeah, cool. So the first thing you're gonna see is this front screen here. You're gonna have like a quick overview of your stats and a lesson reminder, for example, our YouTube videos. And I strongly recommend that you check out our YouTube and our blog if you get Edgewonk, because there's tons of very useful information there, how to integrate Edgewonk into your trading and how to make the best out of it. And the journal is basically where you enter your trades. So if you click on add new trade, this is the data you have to do. The advanced trade data, this is where the magic happens. Actually, this is the really important stuff, in my opinion, at least, because here is where you can define your own custom stats and then really dig deep into your own trading, your own behaviors, your strategy, and so on. And the trade comments are super important as well. For example, did you enter according to plan, exit according to plan, and so on, because they are essentially running the tilt meter, which is this green thing here. And this is one of my favorite things in Edgewonk. For example, Van Clarp, the famous trading coach, he claims that his traders, after they went through his program, which is like 100K or so, it takes 5 years, they can trade with 95% efficiency. that means if they take 100 trades, they make mistake on 5 of those trades. And that's an outrageous claim, I think. But you can check that yourself with the tilt meter, for example. So whenever you're following your process, you're doing everything right, the tilt meter will rise. And if you make a mistake in your process, the tilt meter will fall. And you will very quickly see that there's a correlation between your how well you stick to your process and how much money you make. And I haven't reached personally 95% efficiency, but I'm close to 80, and that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, honestly, this is the way I say it. Win rate's not everything. I have a 92% win rate. I've had a 93% win rate, you know, but 92 it's just not moving any longer. It seems to be stuck there. But the thing is, you know, I can profit 92% of the time, which means I'm only losing eight of my, you know, trades. Yep. But the thing is how much am I losing in those 8 trades? You know, you can lose all 90 in one trade if you let yourself.
Yeah,
and that's
definitely.
the thing about the journal. You know, you just, if you're not prepared, if you're not meditating, if you're not feeling healthy, you know, if you don't drink some water, I like to drink a big glass of water in the morning before I start trading, get my brain, you know, clear. So that's I'm not fuzzy. Yes. And I don't think a lot of people take this serious enough, but you know, so the 92% win rate, I don't think it really, some people see that and they think that it means more than it does. I don't really think it means that much. It just means that I'm more stubborn than other people.
Possible.
Yes, I mean, and I'm the one that has to work out. That's where my meditation comes in. You know, how much am I going to let myself lose? So if I have a 92% win rate, I can have a close to a 1-to-1 ratio. You know, and as long as I'm sticking to that, you know, things will work out pretty good. And I mean, it works out for me so far now. But I have had times where I've come to the table sick. I've had whatever it is, and I let it go further than I should have let it go. And now I just now 80 of my trades, you know, like I've been there. I've definitely done it.
Yeah, for sure. It's always a matter of win rate and risk reward ratio, of course. Yes.
And then I think that win rate can get in the way a lot for traders.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your psychology, to be honest. Do you want to be right or do you want to make money? Is the first question, of course. And the second question is, for example, if you have a 50% win rate, but you have a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio or even a 2-to-1, you're going to be making a lot of money. But you have to be aware that you with a 50% win rate, a losing streak of 6-7 trades is not out of the ordinary, right? So you have to be psychologically okay with that as well. And that's also something you get from Edgewonk, for example. Tells you your biggest losing streak, how likely it is that you're going to have this losing streak again, and so on. So that's some really important stuff to know as well about your own psychology when you are creating a strategy or learning a strategy from someone else. Does it fit your psychological makeup?
Yeah, another thing is the risk to reward ratio. You know, I think a lot of people get stuck on that trade like a casino thing, you know, 3-to-1 or whatever. And quite honestly, I think that gives people, they don't account for probability in their trades. Yes. So they're only going for this risk to reward ratio thing in their head, and they're just cutting their losses. And like you said, you get a streak of cutting your losses over and over again. Yeah. And that's where you really got to find your edge in the market, you know, so you can have the higher probability trades at the same time. You can't just trade every single stock that's at resistance thinking it's going to break and go to the moon and not have a profit target as well.
Yes. It's going to give you a hard time if you try to do that.
I mean, for me, I go for 1% a day on the account. I don't care if I don't hit it. It's fine, you know, because 1% is an enormous number in my opinion, you know. So if I get 0.2%, 0.4%, I'm totally, absolutely fine with that. And I break up my trades into many trades. So I'm looking to get like 0.01% even, or 0.1%, and add that and piece that together through the day until I reach my 1% or thereabouts. And that makes it a lot easier, a lot less stressful for me. And it just really took my trading and put it into a much more manageable, you know. And but yeah, the whole probability thing is what people don't really look at when they're looking at win rate and they're looking at risk to reward. They're not thinking about the probability of these trades.
Exactly, yes. So yeah, you always have to keep that in mind, 100%. So, okay. So here's another one of my favorite charts, the underwater chart, for example, that shows you how much time you're spending in a drawdown. That's super important to realize as a trader, that most of the time you're going to spend in a drawdown, especially if you're not, for example, a super short-term day trader, if you're a swing trader and so on. As a day trader, if you take like 20, 30 trades in a day, you can pretty much come out ahead very often. But if you're a swing trader, you're going to spend more time, simply time physically in a drawdown. That's something that can take a toll on you as well. We have the holding times. That's also quite interesting. For example, that you can see whether you're holding your winners longer than your losers, which should always be the case. If you're not doing that, then you can quickly see here that something is wrong. Trade management, super epic. I think most of the people that come into trading, they have a huge problem in the beginning with trade management. There was this study by a broker, I think it was Oanda, they examined all the entries by their customers over a certain period, and they saw that 60% or 70% of the customers, they were able to predict the market in the short term up to a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio, and then they completely messed it up with their own trade management. Because as you know, more than 90% of people are losing money in this game, even though more can actually predict the short-term movement of a market. So trade management, super important. And what you can see here, for example, is that the red one is your actual performance. The green one is the performance that you would have had if you had not managed your trades actively. So essentially, this tells you whether you're, after you get into a trade, are you making money with your trade management approach, or is it better if you simply trade, set and forget? And that's one really big game changer for a lot of people when they see this. Right?
I mean, honestly, it helped me a lot. And I think my favorite, though, was the win rate. That's probably why I focus so much on that. Plus, you know, I'm more like a dog with a bone when I'm trading, like Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump when he's saying, "Come and get me," you know, on the front of the ship there. That's kind of me.
I
in
love
my
that
trades.
scene, man. That's a great movie too.
That's how I feel every day, and then I have to smack myself and go meditate because I just held on too long. But you know,
funny, great. It's good you know yourself, man.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You know, you have to. This is all about your personality trading.
Yeah.
It's not. It's what I do isn't going to work for you. What you do might not work for me. You know, we all have to trade for our own personality, and it's just like anything else in life. And I think people they always want to come in here and they want to follow somebody else. Like I get a lot of questions. Can you call out your trades before you get into them? I don't really want to do that. You know, I want to help you learn how to take your trades and see them for yourself. But I really don't want to tell you where to get in. You know, I don't want nobody following me. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. It's not simply doesn't make sense to follow another trader in his entries, because it's usually doesn't fit your psychological makeup. And then where do you get out? Where's the stop loss take profit? What if that trader simply doesn't want to do his signal service one day anymore? Then you don't have your source of income anymore. So it's always better to learn how to fish. Absolutely.
Well, for me, the two ways that I've lost the most money. One was order execution errors, and the other one was listening to other people's calls. And I've never really had much luck with other people's calls. In fact, the only calls that I've ever had success with were people that would be assumed to be amateurs that are not, you know, they don't have their own room. They don't have anything going on. I've lost money from the people that are the big shots, and I've made money with the people that are just your typical everyday traders.
Yeah. So I can say the same pretty much. As in our trading room, for example, sometimes our members, they call out trades I didn't see in my morning routine, for example. I don't know why. Sometimes something just slips through, and then they call out the trades. I'm like, damn, that's a good trade.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So that's it's good to have an extra set of eyes for sure.
And a good community as well.
Yes. Yeah, another one of my favorite tabs is the alternative strategies, because I'm a big believer that entries don't matter that much. You can have random entries and still make money if your trade management is good, or you have good take profits and stop losses, and this is what you can test here. So for every entry you take, every trade you take, you can test different strategies, exit strategies. What if I had trailed in this and that way? What if I had moved after a moving average? What if I always exit at 1 hour, 2 hour, stuff like that? You can test here and see how it would perform as versus your actual performance. So that's really the researcher in me. I love to research all the time numbers, and I'm really curious about what is really going on in my strategies and in the markets. And that's so in Edgewonk 3 we are going to have a lot more of that stuff as well, where you can really dig even deeper into your strategies and really do your research, right?
You know, I don't know if this would be possible, but it would be really awesome if you could incorporate this with a platform that could have backtesting, and you could incorporate your psychology into the backtesting.
Yeah,
you know, backtesting is just numbers, and if you could somehow take and statistically manage your psychology within your journal and throw that into your backtesting as well, I don't know if that's possible, but that would be pretty amazing.
I think it should be possible if you follow. So backtesting, obviously the time factor is always erased, right? And that's of course a huge part of trading psychology is waiting for trades, waiting to get into a trade, waiting to get out of a trade. As a trader, I'm waiting all the time, right? So that's the biggest problem with backtesting, in my opinion, is that the time factor is completely erased. You simply fast forward to the next trade, you fast forward to the trade outcome. So yeah, that's definitely a problem with backtesting, but you can of course incorporate stuff like when you have a 5-trade losing streak, how do you feel in the backtest, and how would you react in the real markets, stuff like that. You can definitely incorporate into Edgewonk as well.
Right.
The simulator is also quite an interesting thing. It basically simulates your key performance indicators into the future. It extrapolates. So if you keep trading exactly the same way as you are doing now, do you have a positive or a negative expectancy? This is also really important to see for newer traders. If I keep trading like this for the next 500 trades, am I going to make money or am I going to lose money with a certain probability? And once you see that, then you're like, okay, obviously I must be doing something right, continue, or I have a negative expectancy, immediately stop trading your real money. Just stop, right? So that's another thing that can really help you save some money in the long run.
With that being said, what is your personal thoughts on simulators? I mean, a lot of traders think that, you know, because they're making hundreds of thousands and even millions in their simulated trades, that's going to transfer right over to the real market. When you trade, when you get into a trade live, I'm sure you notice that it treats you much different than in the simulator. But at the same time, there's a lot of value to the simulator. So what would you say?
Yeah, well, so obviously there has never been a loser on a simulator, and there has never been a losing demo trader. Everyone makes money on demo and on the simulator, so there's something to that. On the other hand, practice makes perfect, right? And our brain is simply, it's a pattern recognition machine. And I'm just reading a book. It's called The Talent Code. And this guy is researching how people prepare for, or how people quickly learn skills like playing the piano or playing the violin, and so on, or how they become great basketball players, stuff like that. And yeah, the book is really fascinating. But what it says is that deliberate practice simply is what creates a thing in your body. It's called myelin, and it wraps around your nerves. And that's basically what skill in the end is that the more you practice, the more broadband internet you will have in your brain, and the faster your neurons will shoot and stuff like that, and the easier it will be for you to execute. And then you come to that point where you have this unconscious competence, where you're really flying on autopilot basically, but you're playing perfectly, like a world-class pianist that put 10,000 hours into his craft, that can play with blind eyes, doesn't even have to think about it, just goes. And trading is a performance craft as well, absolutely, and a pattern recognition craft. So especially for short-term technical traders, So I think that's where the value of a simulator comes in, that you can really see so many patterns play out in such a short amount of time that it really trains your brain and your pattern recognition to function much better in under live conditions than 100%. So there's definitely a lot of merit to a simulator, 100%. I would never say that it's stupid to use a simulator. No,
right.
Never. No.
Especially with getting familiar with your platform, I believe.
Yeah, also for sure. And then when you're trading demo, so what I would do is that you use the simulator to backtest whether your strategy has an edge and to basically train your brain to recognize those patterns. You do that for 100 trades maybe. And then you go on demo, but you only go on demo to learn your trading platform. Maybe 5-10 trades, click every button, see what happens. You can't lose any money. But then very quickly trade with real money. So even if it's just $200 in your account or whatever, it doesn't really matter because real money is a total difference from demo money. It's a huge difference. Right?
Especially in Pennyland, I say it this way, you know, penny stocks don't carry dead weight. They want to shake you out, and they're preloaded with downside, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're just going in with a static trade, like you see a penny stock moving really nice, and all of a sudden you go in with like 20,000 shares or more, it's more than likely that thing's gonna crush you. You're gonna be stopping out of the very uncomfortable area, you know?
Yeah,
but
when the liquidity dries up.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. I believe that's part of the plan too. The part of the, you know, make sure that your capital is depleted by the time this thing actually does go on its move. That way you've already made your move, you've lost, and here this thing goes wherever it was going to begin with. Yeah, so sure. Right thesis, wrong time.
Yeah, and also your emotional capital, of course. If you take 10 shitty trades and then the one trade comes that would have made you money, but you actually not in the right mindset anymore to take it. That's also a really bad situation to be in.
Yeah, I usually have that happen only when I totally disobey my rules and I hold something when I shouldn't. And then I'm just sitting there like, I don't want to talk no more. I don't want to, you know, just kind of leave me alone at that point, you know? Sorry, I keep interrupting you here in the Edgewonk.
Cool. All right, let's look at the trade analytics. Of course, this is basically a pivot table that you yourself can customize as well. So by setups, for example, you have a breakout setup. You can see how this performed, and then you can see how it performed according to whether you meditated, stuff like that. You can enter weekdays, market conditions, psychology, emotions. How did you feel when you entered the trade? Confident or not, or anxious? And all that stuff you can track in Edgewonk, and it's completely customizable. So you can track whatever you want, and you're going to find really interesting correlations that you wouldn't have thought possible before. So I encourage you to be really creative with your tracking. It's really going to pay off in the long run. And what really was one big game changer for me, for example, was tracking the higher time frame conditions. I was always trading on the lower time frames. Wasn't really that interested in the higher time frames. I thought multi-time frame analysis is for idiots. I was making money, but when I started tracking the conditions from the higher time frames, how does the daily look? Is it consolidating? Is it trending?
Yep.
And then I took that bias to the lower time frames, and that's when I started to see a really interesting correlation in Edgewonk. And I started trading into the direction of my daily bias, and I improved my bottom line by a lot. So that's one of the big game changers that came for me from journaling.
Yeah, it's like I always tell everybody, look left on the daily, you know, look left on the 15-minute. If your main time frame may be the 5-minute, but definitely look to the 15 or 30-minute and always the daily, because last thing you want to do is have some stock that was trading at 40 cents. It's now up to 15.70, you know, and you get this big gap. And as soon as the market opens, you know, this likelihood this thing's going to go and try to fill that gap.
Yeah, that's going to be painful. Yeah. yeah, we have the trade process. You can add missed trades, for example. If you do your weekly review, you go over the charts that you traded. Maybe you missed some trades deliberately or accidentally. Then that's something you have to track as well, because when you're doing a backtest, you're taking every single trade. Then during your live trading, you're not taking every single trade. Obviously, it's gonna give you completely different stats for your strategy. So that's something you have to take into account as well. You can write trade plans. If you're more of a swing trader, that's not really for a day trader. But if you're a swing trader, you can write your day trade plans and send them into the journal if they turn into trades, into actual trades, for example. What I really love to do is go through my chart book where I can see the screenshots of all of my old trades. I can open them and take a look at my annotations, for example. I can filter for a certain setup. Let's filter for the breakout setup and then look at all the winners. So now we only have one breakout setup here, but we look at all the winners of the breakout setup, for example, and you can do that before you start trading, just to prime your pattern recognition system. So that's what I do before every trading session. I look at the top 10 best trades I ever took with that strategy. And I do that for every strategy. I'm priming my brain to look, so I know 100% what I'm looking for, no gray areas, right? And that also helps a lot to improve your bottom line.
See, I would really like to have it to where I could have I mean, this would be like broker integration, but if you, as soon as you take the trade, it takes a snapshot of what the chart looked like at that moment. And then, you know, later on in the day, you know, throughout your trade, then you can see exactly how it had evolved from there, you know?
Yeah. With the web version, we are going to have a lot more potential and possibilities to do stuff like that. So
that'd be awesome.
That's going to be really good. Yes. With the app, it was always difficult because it's a totally different server structure, and the technology behind it, it's simply much harder to implement. But with a app that runs directly in the browser, we will have much more capabilities. So stuff like that will definitely come. Yeah.
Awesome. And what right now what would you say is easier to use with broker integration, and what are the advantages to having a broker that integrates with Edgewonk?
Well, if you're super active there, I enter all my trades manually because I think it's a much more personal experience. So it's kind of like Leon the professional, right? If you kill someone with a knife, that's the most professional way and the most personal way to do it. And if you do it with a sniper gun, it's just a... So that's my philosophy about entering trades. I do it personally, each trade one by one, and while I'm entering them, I'm already learning something again because I'm remembering the trade, I'm remembering my emotions, I'm putting myself back into the mindset of when I took the trade. So that's one huge advantage of doing it manually. If you are an active day trader with 20, 30 trades in a day, I see that's not really feasible, right? You don't, instead of reviewing single trades, maybe you have to review whole trading sessions. So that's when broker integrations come into play. And obviously the biggest advantage of broker integration is, of course, that you can import your journal, your trades directly into Edgewonk, and then you will have the basic data, right? You won't have the advanced trade data. That's still something you have to do because obviously we don't know anything about your strategy and we cannot know. So if you really want to dig deeper into your trading strategy, this is where you have to do the work. So we can get the price data, we can get the entry exit time, we can get how much money you made or lost, all that stuff. But that's not really the interesting part, right? You don't need a trading journal to tell you you're losing money, you're making money, you know that by yourself. The really interesting part obviously comes when you really customize Edgewonk, make it your own, and apply it to your strategy. That's when you can really dig deep into your performance and find the areas where you're bleeding money and stop leaking, right?
Right. I believe you started to answer this question here. Can you show your custom comments? We have a question.
Well, this journal is not mine. It's a database we created for the demo. But basically, You can track whatever you want, right? So statistics types, preparation, went through the watch list, light workout completed, meditated, market condition. Do you have a high VIX or a low VIX, for example? Where is the S&P headed? What's the ATR on that instrument? For stock traders, maybe earnings, stuff like that. Number of confluence factors, or that's an interesting one. I'm using that myself as well. So I'm tracking positive and negative confluence. How many technical factors can I find that are against my trade? How many can I find for the trade? You will find some really interesting correlations there. You can set up checklists, for example. So if you take a setup where all your conditions there, so for single strategies, you can create checklists, psychology, how are you feeling, stuff like that. And then all of that you can filter up here, right? So when you go to your trade analytics, and okay, so now your win rate is 47%. What if you filter for, say, you meditated first? So, okay, now you have a 60% win rate and your profit factor increased. So maybe you should meditate more, right? Stuff like that. And those are the correlations that you have to find by yourself, because every strategy is individual. Every person is individual. But the more creative you are, the more interesting stuff you will find. And I can tell you, it never stops. Trading is a never-ending learning process, and I love journaling. I find new stuff pretty much every quarter.
Is there anything that you feel like we definitely need to know about Edgewonk before?
I think I showed pretty much everything.
Yeah.
The most important thing you need to know about not only Edgewonk but journaling. I mean, if you don't want to invest those $200 or those $170 for Edgewonk, then obviously you can create all of that stuff in Excel yourself. The truth is, it will take you at least 100 hours or more, which is like, you can actually use the time to improve your trading, right? So I think it's not a big investment. It's probably the cost of one losing trade for many people, $200. So it's really a small investment related to the value you get out of it. And absolutely, you need a trading journal, whether it's Edgewonk, whether it's your own Excel journal, or one of our competitors, but they all suck. Then I don't really care. But you need a journal, right? If you want to be a trader, you need a journal. There's no way around that.
Yeah, we have all our trades manually entered every single day. And just if we can keep up with even the simplest numbers,
Yeah.
And I know that I'm a little bit more of a lazy journalist at my journaling. I should put a lot more into it as far as how I was feeling and, meditating and drinking water, exercising. What time did I get up? Did I get up right at the last minute, or did I get up a little early? All that makes a big difference on trading.
Huge
and I think
yes.
Just living a responsible life. Traders, I say, they learn how to live a better life just by being traders, or else you're not going to be a trader very long. Yeah,
agree. Absolutely. I mean, your life is going to affect trading, and trading is going to affect your life. So there's a spillover effect, obviously. If you are a good trader, you need to be disciplined, you need to be responsible, accountable, all that stuff, and it's gonna have a positive spillover effect into your whole life. So trading is really like my vocation, my mission, my passion, and I wouldn't have any other job in the world. No chance, right? And if you really treat this as a business, it can make you a lot of money. It can give you all the things that you want, whatever that may be, and it will make you a better person. And it's just the best job in the world. What can I say?
I'm gonna have to read that book you said earlier, because that's the thing. New traders, they don't have that formed yet. They don't have that connectivity in their brain, and they think that it's going to be rolled out like a red carpet or somehow, some way. Or they hear like, a trader, like, anyway, I'm not going to say names, but, some big gurus out there who claim that, I got lucky and I turned this couple thousand into this, whatever huge number. You can fill in the blank, whatever it is. And for some reason that's going to happen to them. They're going to get lucky. And, I only got to get lucky once or whatever it is. And most people don't get lucky. Most people learn that this is not what they thought. This is much harder. It's trading. In my opinion, trading is very difficult. And like you said, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. And I think our job as educators, it is that when a person comes into our circle, then in my opinion, after they learn from me, I want them to do two things: either buckle down and really treat this as a business, or quit and say, this is not for me. One of those two things. Then I think I was successful as a teacher. But if someone stays in this game with delusions of grandeur and thinks they're going to be rich without putting in the work, or rich within a year or two, it's simply not going to fly.
Yeah, I have a new video series that I'm going to start soon, very soon. And I've heard many people say trade like a casino, and it makes sense. If I can profit $300 and only lose 100, I'm doing good. I need a very low win rate, pretty much, and relatively speaking, really low. But for me, I say it's more trade like a bank, not like a casino. Banks don't mind getting 3 cents, and I'm not saying trade for 3 cents, but my grandpa always said, if you can make a buck, Andy, make a buck. And I'm making bucks one after another, and I love it, and it feels great, and it's not stressful. It's only stressful when I try to take on more risk trying to make mega bucks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now in my trading career. That's simply the natural evolution of me as a trader, I think, to start managing money and going that direction, because I want to have a new challenge. But I never had that as a goal when I started out 10 years ago. I simply wanted to quit my job and not have a boss and live at the beach in Thailand. That was my goal back then. Then you get into your 30s, your view on life changes, and then your trading changes too. But that's also the beauty of the job. It can adapt to your lifestyle and give you what you need. So if you do it the right way. Right? And
basically, you could go straight to Edgewonk's website. Check out. You guys have a trial too, or?
Yeah, exactly. We have a trial where you can enter some trades yourself. And Edgewonk 3 is gonna have a dark mode as well, by the way. And you will be able to change the font size and stuff like that, because we get a lot of emails asking about that. So
that's gonna be great.
That's gonna be in there too. And yeah, we have a trial. You can check it out for yourself if you like it. If you have any questions, send me an email to moritz@edgewonk.com. That's my personal email. Then I'll reply to you happily.
And we have a link in the description. We can provide our coupon code. Is that all right with you?
Yep, cool.
All right, awesome. And well, thank you for your time, Moritz. I'd love to have you back if you'd like to come back, talk more about strategy or anything, and maybe Hong Kong and Thailand and some of the amazing things you've done in your life. So anyways, really appreciate you coming on. It's an honor, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time. Ciao.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Ordered Phil, check us out.
You know what time it is.
This is the Mighty Soldiers exclusive.
Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it. If you wanna take it to the streets, let's get it. If you wanna take it to the booth, let's get it. I'm about to take it to the top, let's get it. We ain't never ever gonna stop, let's get it. You ain't never heard nobody spit like this. Call the paramedics when I get like this. Front page news when I wreck like this. Hop in the booth and I wreck that shit like,
If you with the squad, then you already know what's up. It be going down, but my account is going up. I'm about to make another 100,000 bucks. Rolling up that chain, I'm about to take another puff.
Hold up, I made a killing, now my pockets got swole up. Independent, now I'm taking over. I'm a lot richer, you a lot broker. I'm a pot smoker, stockbroker, blowing up like a supernova. On my mama, I was born a soldier, the best in the game, man, I thought I told you. If you wanna take it to the streets, let's get it. If you wanna take it to the booth, let's get it. I'm about to take it to the top, let's get it. We ain't never ever gonna stop, let's get it. You ain't never heard nobody spit like this. Call the paramedics when I get like this. Front page news when I wreck like this. Hop in the booth and I wreck that shit like, I am unstoppable, I can do anything I ever wanted to. Never did anything they ever wanted me to. Got on my side and I'm not gonna lose and they're not gonna win. I see them, the haters, it's all cause I'm getting dollars again. Commas on commas on commas, I'm buying the dip. The market is dropping again. I can see him hating from the sideline. If you see a hater, tell him bye-bye. Watch my money grow, 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 grow. And my wifey like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa! Somebody better stop me cause there ain't no competition and I'm coming for the top position. Obliterating the opposition every time that I jot it in the composition. Everybody wanna stop and listen cause I bring it to you hotter than the oven in your mama kitchen. I be getting hit like a politician. I'ma get bread when you stack looking taller than Scottie Pippen. Ain't nobody ready for the Armageddon when I pop the clip and I ain't playing. I'm spraying you brain, I'm bringing the pain like Damon Wayne. You disappear like David Blaine. I'm dropping bombs, Saddam Hussein. Stop and aim, pop you lames and pop champagne. I ain't playing so stop the games, you know the name. If you wanna take it to the streets, let's get it. If you wanna take it to the booth, let's get it. I'm about to take it to the top, let's get it. We ain't never ever gonna stop, let's get it. You ain't never heard nobody spit like this. Call the paramedics when I get like this. Front page news when I wreck like this. Hop in the booth and I wreck that shit like, yeah.